Well, I think the Tesla mantra could almost be this: when you have problems with the present, focus on the future. And that's really what's going on now. I mean, look at what's happening. You have financial results coming out Wednesday. They're going to be disappointing. Probably a loss is what's expected on Wall Street. You also have production problems continuing with the Model 3, which is a reason for that loss that is expected. You have a boardroom in a lot of change or upheaval, perhaps, with 4 longtime directors leaving the board and not being replaced. Then you have this thing in China. And I think Phil was absolutely correct to really caution against jumping to any conclusions here. But the point is, the Tesla playbook is that, when things aren't quite going right in your operating system and your execution and that sort of thing,
right,
let's roll out the vision. And that's what they're doing.
The problem with that Tesla playbook, and Phil, I'm sure you can speak to it, is that it doesn't seem to be working that much anymore. I mean, with each time that it pulls out that playbook, Phil, the stock doesn't really react.
Less and less, in part
people
because
are getting a little jaded.
Yeah, and Paul's right. People are getting a little jaded. And there also is an element of people saying, give me something that I can hold on to and I can say, okay, here is the forecast, whether it's Model 3 sales, whether it's overall sales, whether it's when we're going to see certain technology rolling out. I think the market, to a certain extent, and investors increasingly are saying, I want more certainty. It cannot just be, we have got great things coming. Nobody doubts that Elon Musk is a visionary. What people increasingly are doubting is when they can deliver with consistency what they're saying they're going to deliver.
And Paul, I actually wonder, so we'll wait to see exactly what they say, but Tesla's already said, Musk has said he thinks that Tesla will be capable of fully autonomous driving by the end of this year. At what point do those claims mislead the public into believing that technology can do more than it can? And do regulators potentially get involved?
Well, that's a very, very tough but appropriate question. Look, misleading the public is a legal thing, and so I don't want to make a legal judgment here. But let's face it. Tesla through Elon Musk has a history really of promising, and even though he is a visionary, the delivery really isn't always there. So the problem for the SEC is, what do? I mean, if you take this man out of the company, he is the company. So he sort of got the SEC's hands tied, the way it looks to me.
I mean, I think that's a really interesting question. I mean, I guess the question, Phil, would be, how many companies give earnings forecasts, and that's what they believe at that moment of time, but things change and those forecasts don't come true. I mean, you can have a list as long as my arm of companies, even just probably in this earnings season, that have done that and missed their forecast. So how can you really hold Tesla accountable? I'm not trying to defend Tesla, but when they say that they're going to have a car capable of autonomy by the end of the year, I mean, is that really a high bar at this point, given where the technology is? Because there's a big difference between a car that is capable of autonomy and a car that is commercially available with autonomy.
And it's all in the definition of autonomy, Melissa. Mm-hmm. Can you drive autonomously on the highway? Sure. Tesla can do that. A number of other vehicles can do that. Can you take me from my driveway, let's say to the Home Depot, then to the McDonald's and back home, and I'm never touching the steering wheel? At this point, while Elon Musk says the technology is coming along and they'll have it by the end of the year, that's not possible. It's just the technology is not out there. Now, he could show us something different today and say, look, we're going to prove everybody wrong, and it will be ready by the end of the year. It all comes down to your definition of autonomy.
Yeah, and I'll bring in Joe Osha from JMP Securities on that as well. Joe, I know you're more positive on the stock. So, again, it's interesting to me this issue of when you have a big event and you're staging it and you're saying, look, this technology is coming and it's going to be ready. Are drivers aware of the nuances there? And is it nuanced enough?
Well, I think we're going to be hearing more shortly. I would say that there's pros and cons here. On the pro side, Tesla certainly has an awful lot of data that they've gathered from having so much autopilot on the road. But as we pointed out this morning on the con side, I'm not sure they have the capacity to spend what Waymo is spending, what Cruise is spending, what Uber is spending, and that's going to have to be something that they overcome.